Well, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, by the way, if you've not done it yet. Next to the subscribe button, whether you're on your phone, desktop, laptop, whatever, there's a bell. Turn it on. Turn notifications on, the push notifications for your computer, your smart TV, your phone, whatever it may be, so you don't miss any of our content. Lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. The Sir Jim Ratcliffe revolution. Man United fans like myself that are angry, are we wrong? We're looking at that. We're going to take a look at Chelsea in this video as well. A lot of people have criticized what Todd Boehly has done, but a very interesting interview has happened. And I think it's worth, of course, Chelsea fans digesting this, but rivals taking note as well. Very, very important indeed. Plus, some Arsenal hypocrisy, bias, hate in the flesh, and just showing you how the difference between certain clubs gets reported by the media is important to focus on, not just because it's Arsenal or because it's Man United or Liverpool, but because we should be demanding better especially from the professional outlets we pay for. But I want to start with Man United because I am devastated that we're not getting the Qatari owners. That's how I feel. I was somebody that wasn't as against Sir Jim Ratcliffe as many other people were. But for the past 7 or 8 hours, I have been thinking over and mulling over why I'm so upset. What is the reason? A big part of it is because the Glazers are staying. And within that, if and when they do eventually leave, they're going to make even more money. And as much as I want them out, the idea of them making money out of my football club, making even more profit, making themselves even wealthier with how they have treated us, their lack of regard for the football element, and the crushing, destroying, the erosion, the eradication almost of one of the greatest sporting institutes in the world, it pains me to see them become wealthier people off of the back of it. And as far as I'm concerned, not enough people in the media, not enough Man United fans have done enough tangible actions against it. Lots of tweets, lots of hashtags. There's been some protests, but none of these things have really made any impact on getting rid of them. So I'm angry about that. And because I don't trust these soulless, heartless bastards, until I see the full details of this deal, until we know that debt is being cleared, training facilities are being improved, new stadia is being put together, it's very hard to get behind it. The media is so positive about this, by the way. They are talking about this like it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. That also unnerves me a little bit. I know I asked for like non-biased breakdowns, but they were so against the Qatari owners. I almost don't trust the sincerity behind how happy they are right now, because I believe this is more about, we're not getting any more Middle East owners in England, because we know the mainstream media has a real bee in their bonnet about that. So I want it to work. Let me put that out there now. I want this takeover to work. I want it to be a gradual, not gradual, I want it to be quick, but I understand that there's a plan to gradually take over the whole club. The 25% share is supposedly going to give him full control over the football element of the football club, which I think is key. And I have already had replies from people, but you've already spent loads of money before. What's going to be the difference this time? And that's just ignorant opinions where they don't listen, or they haven't listened, they haven't educated themselves. It isn't about per se spending money on players. It is the infrastructure, it's the training facilities, it's the stadia. Spending money in areas stop the club from physically, literally decaying. Send out such a message that football is the most important thing here. We are proper, we are professional, we want to get to a certain level. And unless you can go and bring in Paul Mitchell, you can go bring in new scouts, you can bring in the best in class you want. But if the focus of the club, which is still 75% owned by the Glazers, if the focus of the club isn't to become the best football team in the world, and all of your actions demonstrate that you're trying to get there, it's going to be a drop in the ocean. It's going to be like turning up to an earthquake with a dustpan and brush. You're making very little impact. It's a nice gesture, well done you, but you're not really going to be clearing anything up. So for me, I'm open-minded about this. but I think fans need to see the full plan. We need transparency on this for him to pick up and gain further support, in my personal opinion. But I do want to know what you all think and what you all feel. Leave us comments below. Now, I mentioned Arsenal earlier, and the way reporting is so poor on their club at the moment. And sometimes it's not even directed at Arsenal. But take a look at this. Take a little listen to this.
Jurgen Klopp was the most recent manager to kick off a season with back-to-back Manager of the Month awards for August and September. That was in the 1920 season. I'm sure you remember what happened in that season. Could this be a lucky omen for Spurs? I'm sure I've asked you this already, but why aren't Spurs in the conversation for the title race?
So firstly, why are Spurs not in the conversation? When so much of TalkSPORT, as an example, last year, were like, you can't even talk about title races at this stage of the campaign. That's first and foremost.
I think they would be if they can hang in there till Christmas and they make a signing that adds even more to their forward line.
And there you see Tony Cascarino. They will be if they're up there by Christmas and make a good signing in January, which is fair. And by the way, I'm someone that believes, by the way, title race talk should start now, because this is when you build your foundation. I believe what he has just said about Tottenham is fair. So again, Tottenham fans, before you say, oh, we're sticking up for Arsenal and sticking it to us. No, it's not about having a pop at Tottenham. I agree with the question and I agree with what's been said. But it's the bias in the way they ask questions, what their opinions actually are, depending upon who the team is. So this was around this time last year, and I want to play this clip back to you. Just take a little listen to this.
And onwards for Arsenal. I think they're playing a brand of football that we're all enjoying. But I still come back to it. You know, the real test will be Liverpool, Man City. And that in itself is a compliment, because if you were talking about this a year ago, there'd be 7 or 8 teams that could rattle off. The test for them is, and continue talking about teams. Yeah. But now the real test for them, where they want to be, which is challenging for the Premier League, the real test comes when they play Liverpool and Man City, which is imminent.
So Souness is asked the question about Arsenal and their title credentials. This was 8 or 9 games into last season. And the response is not until they've played Liverpool and City. They need to be tested before anybody gives them any real praise. I can't praise Arsenal yet because they've not played the best 2 teams in the league. Therefore, all their other victories and being top of the league is completely and utterly irrelevant. I'm just actually looking back here. When did they play Liverpool last season? So I'm just scrolling back here, like the first game they played against them. I want to make sure I'm getting the dates on this right as an example. They played them on the 9th of October. So again, we're pretty much in and around the same time. There was no international break in October last year, of course. But at the same stage of the season, rightfully Spurs are being praised. Rightfully the questions are being asked around their title credentials, what more do they need to do. Tony Cascarino's answer, I think, is fair about Tottenham. My question is, why are they not that fair about Arsenal? Even this year, I've seen more question marks over Arsenal than Spurs by the mainstream media. It's maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm not seeing this. Maybe it's all in my mind and my mind's broken or something. I don't know. I've got a headache today. But I remember that Souness interview from a year ago. It stood out to me. And look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The way Arsenal, and even more so Man United, are reported on differs from that of Tottenham, from that of Liverpool, from that of Manchester City, in every single which way. And for me, there's proof in the pudding right there. But I want to get your opinion on that. I want to understand where you're coming from. I want to understand what you think about what I've seen here. I really want to ascertain and understand that. Now, I mentioned earlier, of course, people hit like buttons as well, please. And I said at the top of the show, but I'll remind you again now, get that done. And get bell notifications turned on as well. I know you don't all think that's important. I know sometimes push notifications can be annoying on your phones or on your computers, but YouTube are not good at sending out updates when we've posted new content. You might see it on your homepage or whatever else, but I want to make sure you don't miss anything we're pushing out. So please go and get that done. Now, really interesting interview that I saw here regarding Chelsea, and this comes from the boss of Infinity Athletic, the new sponsors of Chelsea, and he was talking about Todd Boehly, and he said here that take when Boehly bought the Los Angeles Dodgers professional baseball team in 2012. The Dodgers. I'm actually going to do something really quick because I haven't done this right now, and I'm going to do it. Let me just get it in big on my screen because I can't read that; it's too small. He said that in 2012 the Dodgers had not been great. Now they're on the now they're playoff contenders. They are constant in the conversation for the World Series. He's not looking at 3, 6, 9 months incrementally at Chelsea. He's looking at decades of ownership, and I've always appreciated that about him. And what's really key is that I don't know if Chelsea fans have seen this interview or what it implies or delved into it anymore, but this is coming from the new sponsor who obviously knows Todd Boehly and has just said that, yes, they have. Essentially, what I'm reading in this is Chelsea haven't started particularly well under life with Todd Boehly. But this isn't a flash in the pan, £1 billion invested, and then that's it. They're going to walk away. They're going to go elsewhere. There is a genuine want from these new owners at Chelsea to create and make Chelsea into the greatest football institute in the world. Now, whether they get there or not is another conversation. And yes, they've made mistakes. And yes, in the short term, Chelsea have been laughed at and ridiculed and ripped apart at times. And I understand that. However, one thing I've continually iterated, then reiterated, and will continue to speak on is they're not going anywhere. This isn't £1 billion spent. Oh my God, terrible investment. Let's sell the club. Or this sort of slimline everything and push the spending back and crash the club. It doesn't appear that way to anybody. This is a long-term project of new stadia, training facilities, multiple billions of pounds being invested across the whole infrastructure, multiple new clubs being purchased and bought under the umbrella of Chelsea, very similar to that of Manchester City. And yes, they're having teething problems early on. But in my personal opinion, over the next 4 to 5 years, this Chelsea team are going to become serious Champions League and Premier League contenders again. Enjoy it while it lasts where they are right now, because I just can't for the life of me see them staying there. But as ever, people, look, give me your thoughts, give me your feelings. Make sure like buttons have been hit as well. As I always say, it's important. And of course, your comments, because your comments are the lifeblood of the Football Terrace, because you are the most important part of our community. So I look forward to reading through them, hearing what you've got to say. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.